finish. Champions finish.
It's been a crazy year in 4A football, but the drama is finally behind us, and it's time to settle it on the field. Eddie Hall leads a Mountain Crest Mustang team that's won 10 straight.
Bounces off the head and into the end zone. Touchdown, Eddie Hall.
The Timp Thunderbirds have been nothing short of unstoppable. Even the snow couldn't slow down Jake Lloyd and company last week. It's Mountain Crest against Timp for the 4A crown, and it starts right now. On a chilly November night here in Salt Lake City, Rice-Eccles Stadium is the site for the final game in the 2012 high school football season. It'll be the 4A state championship game between the Mustangs of Mountain Crest against the Thunderbirds of Timpview. Good evening, everybody. Alongside Steve Tate, I'm Tony Parks. And Steve, it all comes down to this. 2 days in the hot July sun, adversity these teams face, losses, difficulties, ups and downs, but it all ends with one big championship game and two very good teams to play in it.
Yeah, and both teams are going to rely on their leaders to get them to this point, and in this game certainly is no different. You look at Timpview, one leader to look for is Jake Lloyd. Here's a guy that runs that offense for Timpview very effectively, that spread offense. Jake Lloyd has 50 touchdowns on the season, Tony. 6 interceptions. Very accurate. There you see connecting to one of his favorite receivers, Dax Raymond. Likes to roll out on the pocket, get outside the tackles, and makes accurate passes. Look for that being key in this game.
And, of course, for the Mountain Crest Mustangs, it's all about Eddie Hall, who did such a tremendous job carrying this team in the snow last week.
And Eddie Hall is the ultimate Swiss Army knife. Mountain Crest uses him at the quarterback position. Last week we saw him play in that wildcat formation. Last year has experience playing quarterback, but he can run it under center. He's a guy that can catch it out of the backfield, and look for Mountain Crest to give him a lot today.
And a couple of those Mountain Crest players, including Eddie Hall, looking to bounce back after the championship loss they suffered 2 years ago. Two familiar names in the 4A state championship game. We'll have them coming up next on KJZZ.
Introducing the official training bike of the Tour de France, the Proform TDF, the first ever indoor training bike that delivers everything you demand. A 20% incline and a 20% decline, so you'll experience exactly what the road does. Because it's powered by Google Maps, you choose the road and the TDF follows it. Every incline and decline, so no matter what comes at you, you'll be ready. The Proform TDF automatically adjusts resistance, incline and decline. Plus, with a built-in power meter, you'll know your exact output. You decide where to go and the official training bike of the Tour takes you there. And now that you've decided, we're ready to deliver. Order right now and get 0 down and a free upgrade on rush shipping. Call the number on your screen or go online today.
The Tosh High School Game of the Week on KJZZ TV is brought to you by Tosh, the Orthopedic Specialty Hospital. The Larry H. Miller Dealerships, driven by you. Science Bank, we haven't forgotten who keeps us in business. And by IM Flash Technologies, making the memory that makes the world mobile.
Welcome on back. The 4A state championship game about to get underway. The Timpview Thunderbirds going head-to-head against the Mountain Crest Mustangs. And, Steve, you spoke with both of these teams earlier in the coaching staff. We get our Tosh sideline report brought to you by Tosh, the Orthopedic Specialty Hospital. What was the vibe you got from each of these head coaches?
Well, you know, Kerry Whittingham, obviously the head coach, first-year head coach for Timpview. They're going to do everything that they have done up to this point. Jake Lloyd, put the ball in Jake Lloyd's hands. Let him roll outside the pockets. He's done everything well up to this point. 50 touchdowns on the year, only 6 interceptions. Good things happen when you get the ball in his hands. On the other side of the ball, you got Mountain Crest. This coaching staff wants to get the ball in Eddie Hall. He's a guy who runs between the tackles well. You can put him back there in the wildcat formation. Most importantly for Mountain Crest is sustained drives. Coaches said that's a key to this game, is going to sustain drives, allow your defense to make plays and get the ball out of Jake Lloyd's hands. But offensively, it's all about sustaining the drives.
Indeed, and of course with both of these two teams playing with a lot of high emotion, we'll talk about trying to control emotions at this stage, but of course both of these teams having some younger players who definitely contribute. Right now it's time for our Step Up Utah kickoff. Make sure you're doing everything to get ready for college. For tools, tips, and a grade-by-grade checklist, go to stepuputah.com. Let's talk about that, the emotions in an early going moments of championship games. You've played in championship games. What are the emotions like in those first 5 minutes?
Well, it's absolutely, it could be overwhelming for guys that haven't been in this spotlight before. Certainly Timp and Mountain Crest are two teams we see routinely in the playoffs and certainly at this level in the state championship. But you've got to make sure you keep your emotions in check and you don't peak too soon. So offensively, right away, Timp's got to remain calm and don't try to do too much early.
This game is underway as this ball is kicked off deep to about the 10-yard line. Covey running far side, and he's going to be tackled at about the 10-yard line. That time it was Zach Kimball making the tackle to get things started well on the special teams for the Mountain Crest Mustangs. But out here on the field will come the Timp offense. But first we have a penalty marker on the field. Apparently no flag out there on the field, so there was no penalty. Jake Lloyd, as you mentioned before, 50 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. You see the note right there, 3 touchdowns to tie Riley Nelson for the most in a season. They're going to go to Gregson Aspinall on the first play right up the middle for about 4 yards to the 19-yard line. Huerta there to make the tackle. Let's take a look at who to look out for on this Timp offense, and man, they are explosive.
And we opened with Jake Lloyd. We all know about him. 3,500 yards passing, over 3,500 yards, 50 touchdowns, leads the state, only 6 interceptions. But let's talk about Gregson Aspinall. Here's a guy who, when he gets his opportunities, he rushes really well. 11 touchdowns on the season. What I like about him, yards after contact. He's a big running back, runs between the tackles well, and really sets up the pass for Jake Lloyd.
Covey in motion to the near side. Lloyd is going to roll out to the near side. He's going to throw to Covey up across the 20. Breaks a tackle, 25. Cuts back and is up across the 30, down to about the 32 with Pututau there to make the tackle. Let's take a look now at the Questar players to watch for Mountain Crest. And, of course, players to watch brought to you by Questar. Visit thermalize.com for energy-saving tips and rebates from Questar Gas.
And Gage Ferguson, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions on the season. And also number 32, Nick Walterson, 1 sack, 3 interceptions. This is a team defensively, when you're playing against a potent offense, you've got to make some big plays. There's going to be opportunities for you to make plays. You've got to capitalize on those big plays, because you look at Jake Lloyd, only 6 interceptions on the season.
We're going to go to Aspinall with the middle. He's got room up across the 35 and gets to about the 38-yard line. Time now to take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by the Larry H. Miller dealerships, driven by you.
Well, we saw that opening pass play by Jake Lloyd. He's a guy who likes to get out of the pocket. Timp does a great job. We mentioned Aspinall. And Jake Lloyd has so many targets out there. We forgot to mention even Dax Raymond. Here's a guy, big target out there, number 7. That's his number 1 target. Mountain Crest has got to keep Lloyd off the field, and that's what I say about sustaining drives. Offensively, Mountain Crest has to sustain some drives, get the ball in Eddie Hall's hands, and pick up some first downs and really create a time of possession type battle out there.
And on 3rd down and 4, rolling out and throwing incomplete to Atherton was Jake Lloyd. And so it will set up a situation for the Timp Thunderbirds, where it'll now be 3rd down and 4.
3rd and 4 situation.
The scoreboard here at Rice-Eccles Stadium had that play listed as 3rd and 4. Lloyd and company converted some big 3rd downs last week against East. They did the same thing against Woods Cross. They'll go to Aspinall. Aspinall barreling over a tackler. He'll get all the way up to the 44-yard line. He will have the first down.
And that's a nice weapon to have. 3rd and 4 situation. with a team that passes as much as Timp, you look for them. Certainly as a defense, I'd say be alert on the pass. But you're able to hand it all off to Aspinall on 3rd and 4, and he picks up a nice first down.
Well, we talked about this offensive line. Take a look at them right there. Watanabe, Faumui, Lara, Tassina, Sorensen, just to name a few of the guys who will be getting in there regularly on snaps. They did a tremendous job against a very good East defense last week and controlled the game for much of the 3rd and 4th quarter. Lloyd to throw, looking right, going deep. Raymond chasing but can't make the catch as it was overthrown inside the 30-yard line.
And that's who he goes to. He likes to look for Dax Raymond. Big target on the outside. Those two have great timing, great chemistry out there. And that is something we will look and see quite often today in this football game.
Like to go over the top with him. Very versatile receiver. Look out for Rhett Van Leeuwen. When Lloyd gets into a rhythm with those guys, it is very tough to stop. Woods Cross had a tough time with it. East had a tough time with it. And we'll see how Mountain Crest is able to hang in with it. 2nd and 10. Aspinall. Right side. Lunges forward, picks up 4. Troy Netzley there to make the stop. You watch what Mountain Crest is doing defensively with their D-line. Nobody is necessarily down. A lot of movement up along the front. Do you like that in the early going of this game?
Oh, absolutely. One thing about this Timp offense is it's a very timing-based offense. And that means these receivers and Jake Lloyd do a great job. It's get the ball from center, and it's a 1, 2, 3, get the ball out. And everything's based off of timing. So how do you disrupt that? You put a lot of pressure on the guys on the outside. Obviously, you're relying on the guys, the beef up front to get to the quarterback. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on the defensive backs to disrupt that timing, play man-to-man press.
3rd and 6. Lloyd throws over the middle. It's intercepted. Picked off at the 30. Returned up to the 35-yard line. It's Gage Whitaker on the interception. And so the first big play of the game goes to the Mustangs.
Gage Whitaker back there playing center field. Great job reading Jake Lloyd's eyes, seeing where he's going with the football, and comes up with a big interception. Jake Lloyd takes the snap, as you see, goes to a second receiver. Great job capitalizing on a key interception early in this football game, setting the tone defensively, exactly what you need. Keep in mind, this is a Jake Lloyd who's only thrown 6 interceptions on the season. The fact that he threw 1 in the first quarter this early, you have to capitalize on that. Great job by that Timp defense.
Rolling out his Webb. Throws high to find Mafili Laulu Putatau. It is incomplete.
Mountain Crest defense.
Take a look at the players to watch for that Mountain Crest offense.
Yeah, the Swiss Army knife. Eddie Hall does a great job. Last week we saw him play the quarterback position. He can do it all. He can throw, he can run, catches well at the backfield. And Jamison Webb has done a good job at this point. Almost 2,000 yards passing on the season, 18 touchdowns. Look for those two to combine to be a prolific offense, and that's what Mountain Crest needs.
Throw to the far side. It's going to be caught by Hall. Gets up across the 40, has first down yardage, and gets into Timp territory. Hastings Madsen had to make the tackle, but you mentioned Eddie Hall before. He'll have the ball in his hands quite a bit.
Speed and space, Tony. It's all about speed and space. This is a play we see quite often. It's just that little bubble screen. That time, get the ball to your playmaker and Eddie Hall and make him do good things, and good things happen when he gets the ball.
Handoff up the middle, it's Ferguson, and Ferguson will barrel his way for about 3 yards. His Mountain Crest team knows how to capitalize on momentum. They did it last week by getting turnovers. Speaking of turnovers, this Timp team on defense can cause a lot of them. Pita Talmoy Penu with 21 sacks on the year. That leads the state. He is outstanding.
Absolutely. He's got 58 tackles, 21 sacks. Gabe Reed also 62 tackles, 8 sacks. They've got a lot of weapons in that interior defensive line for Timp.
Throw to Hall, near side, makes the catch, gets up across the 40, down to the 30. Penalty marker is down, as Emmett Talla was there to make the tackle, and a penalty marker in the area right about where Eddie Hall made the reception.
And Tony, one thing to look for in this football game is which team throws the first punch, and Mountain Crest able to come up with a big interception early in this football game. Looks like they're motivated, ready to play, and not backing down from this challenge. That's something we looked at the 5A game previously, and you saw it be a one-sided effort. as Jordan was able to take the 5A state championship.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. There was a second penalty during the play. We have a dead ball, personal foul. Defense, that's 15 yards from the ball. It will replay second down.
And so the two penalties there end up being costly for each of these two teams, especially the one for Mountain Crest with where they were on the field after making the play.
And those penalties, when you have holding penalties like that, I call those effort penalties, but the penalties that don't sit well as a coach are those personal foul penalties. Those are the ones that really hurt you. Can't afford to have those. I understand when you have a holding or a pass interference, those are effort penalties. You're making a big effort to create a big play, and sometimes those things happen, but you can't have personal fouls.
Second down, and 2 yards to go. And then a costly penalty, obviously, for Timp. Webb to throw, goes to Hall, far side 40, gets up across the 35, and has first down yardage down to the 33-yard line. And I think another penalty marker has come down, and the fans on the Mountain Crest side cheering. It sounds like that is going to go against the Timpview Thunderbirds.
What a good-looking play, Mountain Crest there. Jamison Webb doing a great job taking that ball from the center. As we hear the refs give us the call here.
Face mask, 5-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down.
5-yard variety. So tack that on to the end of the reception by Eddie Hall. Now, how about this? Kerry Whittingham was in shorts last week. I don't know if that's safety pride, linebacker pride.
Hey,
what is that? Is that
that's
linebacker
some
pride?
linebacker pride right there.
It is superstition, according to Coach Kerry Whittingham. He doesn't want to mess with a good thing. This team has played well while he's been wearing shorts. Webb in trouble. He's hit, and he's dropped. P.O. Stowers. We're going to call his name a lot, just as we did last week.
Right flag down again. Yeah, that's something in a state championship game. Right now, emotions are obviously high for both teams. Playing in Rice-Eccles Stadium for a chance to win a state championship.
Sideline warning, Mountain Crest. Their first of the game.
Well, emotions really running high in the early moments of this game. You can tell by the pace at which these players are playing out there. There's definitely nerves. When do the nerves kind of leave you as a player in this type of environment?
Well, it usually takes a few series, but in a game like this, if guys haven't been in a situation, it can go as long as a quarter. Absolutely.
Webb to Pututau. And Pututau gets up across the 25-yard line.
Pututau is such a weapon for Mountain Crest. They use him as a receiver, but does a great job as a defensive back as well. That time, Pututau takes that laser screen and picks up 3 yards, 2 of which came after contact.
This part of the game is brought to you by Symphony Homes. Go to symphonyhomes.com for more. Symphony Homes, orchestrating your dreams. Watched critical third downs that Timpanogos was able to convert on their march to get into Mountain Crest territory. Now, a big 3rd down and 6 here for Webb and company. They'll go to Hall. Hall will throw to the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown. Wow. What a start for Mountain Crest. Caden Lindley with the reception. And no one saw that play coming after what Mountain Crest had previously done on the drive.
And credit the offensive coordinator for Mountain Crest. You know, so often we see offensive coordinators, play calling one play at a time. This time, setting up that. It seemed as though the previous plays, they ran that bubble screen to Hall, and they were just setting up this big play opportunity. And way to capitalize. Great throw by Eddie Hall. And like we said, he is the Swiss Army knife for that Mountain Crest offense.
The extra point, Hall is going to roll out. Looking to throw, goes to the end zone for Pututau. It is incomplete contact, no flag. So we watched them take an 8-0 lead against Highland last week. They'll stand at 6-0 this week. Lindley with a touchdown reception from Hall in the Tosh 4A championship game.
you do have a choice in emergency health care. The Urgent Care Clinic and 24-hour emergency room at Cache Valley Specialty Hospital is here to serve you. At Cache Valley Specialty Hospital, you will receive prompt quality service without waiting, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your friends at Cache Valley Specialty Hospital, we're here to serve you.
It's Mountain Crest striking first on a Lindley touchdown reception, and their fans are definitely in a good mood after starting off 6-0 over the Timp Youth Thunderbirds. And, you know, Kerry Whittingham, when I got a chance to talk to him before the game, he said this will be an all-or-nothing type game, obviously for both teams, but with the way Mountain Crest is and the way Coach Wooten can get creative, he said our guys are going to have to be ready for anything.
Yeah, this is a fun matchup to watch. You know, obviously Kerry Whittingham is a first-year head coach, but that coaching staff has been here before several times. And Wooten on the other side of Mountain Crest, he knows what to do in these situations, and great play call early on in this football game.
Ball is kicked off, and it's going to be caught at the 3-yard line by Covey. He is a burner. Covey turning the corner at the 20, slipping out of some tackles, but eventually gets up to about the 29-yard line. And they're going to mark this a fumble to be recovered by Mountain Crest. It looked as if like Covey was down by contact, but they're ruling that he fumbled the football before going down.
Well, certainly they don't have the luxury of having instant replay, but if you watch this, Covey goes down the sideline, as you see going down the left sideline, and right here from behind, knocks the ball out.
Great call. And the recovery, you know, that time all over it was Gage Whitaker.
Gage Whitaker, what a play.
Made two big plays in this game. Webb rolling left, throwing, caught by Pututau at first down yardage, and they'll move the sticks. Isaiah Holloway there on the coverage, but this defense is going to have a big challenge against Faimafili Laulu Pututau, who can also be referred to as Mo.
Right, now that's Pututau, or Mo. No, but you go back to that Gage Whitaker. Obviously comes with a big interception that time, creates a fumble. And when you want to win state championships in a game like this against a great opponent in Timp, you got to have big plays like that. So far, Whitaker, player of this game. What a great job.
Webb rolling right. Gonna tuck, gonna run. Up across the 20. And he'll stop down at the 17-yard line.
Take what they give you.
He's a smart runner. 7 rushing touchdowns on the season. We know 61% completion, 981 yards through the air, 18 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Well, his job will get easier as the game moves on, as Eddie Hall picks up his yards. And Jamison Webb will have some opportunities, and he'll look for him to take some shots at opportune times, because he'll be relieved with Eddie Hall back there picking up those yards.
Webb to throw, pressure in his face, he's going to be hit, he's going to be sacked. Pita Taumoi Penu was in there on the play. Also in on it was Noah Cobb.
And what a great play.
Wayne Pita, who is leading the state in sacks, he leads it for a reason. And Gabe is relentless, and Pita was all over him as well.
And you looked at Noah Cobb also in on that, doing a great job penetrating up the middle. Comes up with a big sack. Exactly what that defense had needed for Timview.
Yeah, Mountain Crest seemed to have some good momentum there. Let's see if they can cash on third down. Screen play. It's tipped. It's incomplete. As Eddie Hall had his hands on it, it popped up into the air, and Emmett Talla was right there for what could have been a big play defensively. And now, Tater, you can follow KJazz on Facebook and Twitter. Check it out at the handle KJZZ14. And if you want to start the Twitter discussion on this game, just hashtag your tweets with an HSGW. And you can talk some trash as well, Tater.
Talk some trash. That's what Twitter's made for. Hide behind that computer and talk some trash.
Field goal opportunity of 38 yards is right down the middle. So the Mountain Crest Mustangs cash in as Weston Casey knocks one in from 38 yards. 9-0 Mountain Crest on top early.
Clark Salt Lake Express and the airport shuttle have merged and become one.
So we still have doorstep service, and it's about the same price as it was before. Our focus now is to try to provide as many opportunities for people who need to have the ability to get to and from Salt Lake when they want. They don't want to wait at the airport for 2 hours. They also don't want to be driving around the valley when they get here.
And you bring us to a location that leaves on time.
We'll have another vehicle take you here to save time comfortably, and that main vehicle goes 12 times a day on schedule, both leaving the valley and coming back.
4A state championship game continues on, presented by Tosh, the Orthopedic Specialty Hospital. Mounting Crest on top of Timpview, 9-0, and things really going the Mustangs' way here early on, Steve. What's the important key to remember as a coach when talking to your team about weathering this early storm of momentum that seems to be going against them?
Well, very uncharacteristic of Jake Lloyd throwing an interception early in this football game. Only 6 on the year, and now with the 7th. You know, things will be fine. Just continue to play your game. Don't try to do too much. Hand the ball off. Let Aspinall get some yards in between the tackles. Soften up that defense, and Jake Lloyd will get opportunities to test them deep. And that's the reason they are here at this point. No need. You're down 9-0. Still the first quarter. A lot of time left. No need to get uncharacteristic in a football game like this.
Well, and we watched it last week. This team had a special teams mistake that led to a turnover. It's happened here again. But Jake Lloyd and that offense back out there on the field. They're down 9-0, and they'll begin from the 20-yard line as Brenton Covey was on the return that time. Caden Lindley brought him down.
And one matchup to watch is Putu Talon and Dax Raymond on the outside.
Great point.
Playing man-to-man defense.
Lloyd from the shotgun, and he's going to throw to Aspinall, or rather it goes to Galland on the left side. Galland has first down yardage up to the 33-yard line. We talked so much about Van Leeuwen, about Aspinall, about Raymond, but a nice little secret weapon for this team, especially out of the backfield in the passing game, has been Braden Galland.
Yeah, Galland has been kind of the safety net for this football team. There you see a nice pitch and catch by Jake Lloyd, getting it out to Galland, letting him pick up some yards after contact. Great job there picking up the first down.
First down and 10. The ball is at the 33-yard line. Lloyd to throw. Far side going to Galland, and it's out of his reach.
And this game, this sets up nicely for Galland. Obviously, all eyes are on Dax Raymond out there on the outside, Putu Talon and Dax Raymond. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch throughout this game. But Galland's going to have his opportunities. As you focus in on one receiver like that, it usually leaves the number 2, the number 3 receiver. And so far, Galland looks to be an early target here in this first quarter.
Slot left, one man to the right. Lloyd from the shotgun as usual. Movement on the defensive line, and a neutral zone infraction will move the ball forward 5 yards. Is that a rule you'd like to see changed? That if guys can get back,
yeah, I would.
That it shouldn't be a 5-yard penalty? And if a guy is in the neutral zone, that you can snap the ball and have a free play?
I would.
5-yard penalty, still second down.
There's a few rules in high school football I think need to be changed. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the kickoff return as well, where if it goes in the end zone, you're not allowed to return it in high school football. I think that needs to be changed. Certainly that's a rule that they need to look into. But
second down and 5 now from the 38-yard line. Lloyd will hand to Gregson Aspinall right side. Got a bit of a head of steam there and gets up to the 45. And Nick Watterson and Talon Niederhauser were there to make the tackle, but not before he picks up 7 or 8 yards and moves the chains.
And Aspinall's a bruiser. You hand the ball off to him, good things happen. He definitely has a lot of yards after contact. And that time, no different, picking up a big first down for his offense. That's something I think now, as you're down 9-0, and certainly with an early interception, I'd go to Aspinall a little bit more to get things going and kind of calm those nerves.
They'll go to Aspinall again up the middle. And Gregson Aspinall will surge forward for about 4.5 yards. Talon Niederhauser there again to make the tackle. But you're wanting the guys up front to make those tackles more and more often.
Absolutely. And right now, like I mentioned, go to Aspinall, soften up this defense a little bit. As you hand the ball off, this defense will have a tendency to focus in on that run game. And as soon as they focus in and try to take away Aspinall and what he gets, that's when you have those opportune times to take advantage with play action. So early on, I like how Timp is establishing this run game.
2nd and 6. It's Aspinall again. It's up the middle. It's another big result. First down yardage. They'll move the sticks. And Gregson Aspinall hasn't been stopped here so far on this drive. Niederhauser there to make the tackle. Stetson Weston was there as well. But ultimately, it's Gregson Aspinall who just continues to move that ball forward.
Well, look at we talked about it. Aspinall going between the tackles. The beef up front for Timp. Man, they've got the big boys up there creating some lanes for Aspinall. Great first down carry for Aspinall on that last play.
1st and 10 at the 42, movement on the offensive line, and it'll be a 1st and 15.
Snap, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Don't forget, if you want to see this game again, you're in luck. Be sure to tune in to Root Sports Thursday at 3 p.m. for the rebroadcast of this game. That's on Root Sports Thursday at 3 p.m. You know, we talked about the importance for Mountain Crest keeping Jake Lloyd and company off the field. How important is this year that Timp has been able to keep Webb and Hall off the field?
No, and that absolutely one of the keys of this game is making them do things they haven't done all year, and one of that was creating an interception early on in this football game.
Lloyd to throw, marker down, deep throw for Raymond. It's incomplete, and a penalty marker comes down after what looked to be pretty good coverage there by Faimafilu Laulu Pututau.
And Pututau had great coverage out there. You know, I tell you what, playing defensive back, it's difficult being out there on an island. Pututau had great position. That's one I think is definitely questionable, but the back judge decided as we wait on the...
There were 2 penalties on the play. We have illegal formation on the offense, not enough men on the line of scrimmage. Pass interference on the defense. Those penalties offset. We'll replay first down.
Now, in all fairness, when we watch pass interference penalties, we see the very end of it.
Yeah. And he gets him on
that left hand on the shoulder pad. But you're a deep defensive back. Is that something you want to see let go when he has position like that? Or how do you feel on that?
To me, I think Pututau's in great coverage there. Earned the right to look back for the football. And you got to play, you know, if you're offenses and defenses, you got to be able to let them play a little bit. Both the receiver and the defensive back. Pututau's done a great job thus far playing man-to-man coverage.
There's Aspinall on the left side, barreling over more tacklers and getting up across to the 40-yard line. Gage Whitaker was there, and so was Nick Watterson.
And that's what's working so far. Giving the ball to Aspinall in the backfield. And there you see Dax Raymond, a guy who's getting a lot of attention, certainly from a school in-state here, Utah State. I know they like him and his size and what he brings. 22 touchdowns on the season.
Out of the shotgun, Lloyd. Rolling right. Pressure comes. Throws back the other way. Incomplete. As he went for the speedy Britton Covey. You got to keep a close eye on Covey, because if he gets loose, he can break open big plays.
And Covey's only a sophomore, and a name that many around here recognize, especially Timp fans. Comes from a long lineage of Covey boys down at Timp. That's a designed roll right, throw left play that you see often from Jake Lloyd.
He is the 7th Covey, so I wonder if he's officially called the 7th habit for this team. As you know who he happens to be related to. With 29 seconds left to play here in the first quarter, we have a timeout called by the Timp Thunderbirds. Now, this is a drive that has been an interesting one. They've been able to run the football. They've been able to have progress, but one penalty here has now put them in a situation where they face a 3rd down and 6. Why is it that this team has been so successful at 3rd downs? We'll talk about that actually in just a second. But let's also take a look at the Timp Thunderbirds. They have had an unbelievable history. Back in 2006, of course, they beat Highland 21-12. The Thunderbirds then crushed Pineview 50-7 back in 2007, a part of a state record 36-game winning streak in an unbelievable display of dominance that afternoon. In 2008, Timp outlasted Cottonwood in a classic game, 34-28, two very high-quality teams. And then in 2009, the T-Birds handling Springville 35-6 to make it 4 in a row. And don't forget about that team with Trevor Brown and company. They were just too much for Springville. Latu with a big pick 6 in that game. They have had a great history. And one guy who was a part of that team is Tyler Solorzano, who's the kicker and a part of the defense for Timp.
Yeah, so important of getting to this state championship year after year is creating that winning attitude, and Timp has it.
Lloyd throws over the middle. It's caught by Covey. Covey is going to get to the 30-yard line, and that will be enough for a first down. Caden Lindley was there to tackle him. But we talked about the third down abilities for this Timp team. From what you watch of high school teams, what makes a good third down team, and why is Timp such a successful third down team?
No, Timp does a great job. Well, first and foremost, they got a quarterback back there that makes good decisions. He understands that if his first read isn't there, he goes to his second read. That time, goes to a safety outlet there in Covey, playing more or less the Wes Welker of that Timp offense, playing that slot receiver.
It's a great comparison. Aspinall up the middle. Third down, so dangerous. Down the field, short yardage. Arrington Evans on the tackle that time. But he is a guy, like we talked about before, when he gets loose, he is very tough to stop, and we'll see how big of an impact he can make today. After one quarter of play, the Mountain Crest Mustangs are up 9-0 in the 4A championship game, presented by Tosh. One quarter is in the books. 9-0 is the score. The Mountain Crest Mustangs are on top of the Timp Thunderbirds in the final game for the 2012 high school football season. Here's Lloyd rolling out right, throwing. He gets a reception to Van Leeuwen. Great pass to Van Leeuwen. Van Leeuwen with a good reception, first down yardage, and they'll move the chains again. So here is that productive offense starting to get into a rhythm.
And a very high percentage passes. Getting Jake Lloyd out of the pocket, outside the tackle box, having him throw on the run. Everything's rolling to the way he is rolling. Though that sets up for those high percentage completions, and that's something that Timp has done all the way to this point in the season, and does a great job throwing on the run.
Lloyd on 1st and 10. He'll keep it himself. Up the middle, 15. Break a tackle up across the 10 and down to about the 9-yard line. Nick Watterson there to make that tackle, and you and I talked about this over the previous 2 weeks as well. He's a quarterback that may not have big running numbers, but don't be fooled. He can take off.
Well, he's got Tom Brady-type numbers in the passing game, but he runs a lot better than a Tom Brady when it comes to running the football. He's a guy who very athletic, as you see there. And what he does enough running to keep those defenses honest.
Here is Lloyd into the shotgun. Slot left, one man to the right. First down and goal. Aspinall, middle, hit. Leans forward, gets to the 6. Steve, this part of the game is brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford, go further.
You gotta stiffen up there on that defense if you're Mountain Crest. Gotta rely on those boys up the middle to beef up front, to hold those gaps, let the linebackers fill the holes, and not let Aspinall pick up those yards after contact.
Lloyd on 2nd down. Goal to go from the 6. Aspinall next to him. He'll go to Aspinall up the middle, surging across the goal line, and he's in for the touchdown. So Timp A little shaky early with an interception, a fumble on a kickoff return, but settle in nicely for an 80-yard drive. Wasn't their cleanest drive, but they found pay dirt.
And this is something, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Aspinall has done a great job running between the tackles, picking up the yards that coaches ask of him. And so far, Mountain Crest hasn't shown they have an answer for it.
So Lozano's extra point is good. And the score is at 9-7. Both teams have cracked the scoreboard. Timp has cut the lead to 2. After Gregson Aspinall's 12th touchdown run of the season, the Timpview Thunderbirds have cut the lead to 9-7 against the Mountain Crest Mustangs. Good evening, everybody. Alongside Steve Tate, I'm Tony Parks in the 4A State Championship game presented by Tosh, the Orthopedic Specialty Hospital. You see Eddie Hall and that offense, they were off the field for quite some time.
Yeah, and so much of winning in these state championships is how do you react to adversity? You know, if you get punched in the mouth, you're getting back to the corner, you're going to come out fighting. And Timpview throws an interception early on in this football game. Now was able to keep the emotions, keep everything in check, not try to do too much. Now they're only down 9-7 early in the second quarter.
So Lozano kicks off. This is going to be a high line drive. It's going to be caught by Pututau at the 5. He's going to flip it to Hall coming the other way. Hall dancing around the 15, and he'll get up across the 20 to about the 23. There are some of those tricky plays that we expected to see on the day. How about the Mountain Crest Mustangs last week in the snow, Steve, as they took on the Highland Rams in that Snow Bowl? The Mustangs got on the board first with a Nick Taylor touchdown run, followed it up by a 2-point conversion pass to go with it as well. There's Taylor on that TD run in that snow, and I promise you that is Pututau on a touchdown reception in a 14-6 win. Mountain Crest got more than 100 yards rushing from Eddie Hall. The Mustangs beat Highland 14-6 to get here today. Here's Webb back to throw. Webb is sacked. Ball is loose, and they're going to rule him down at the 21-yard line. Here comes that defense starting to fire off the ball, especially that front four.
That time bringing an extra defender off the edge with a blitz package, comes up with a big sack.
Noah Cobb, Gabe Reed, Charles Tu'ua, Pio Stowers, Pita Taumoi Penu. They have been fast and physical, the best way to describe that Timpview defense, a violent team as well. Rolling out Webb. Pressure around him again. He gets away, running far side across the 20 and gets across the 25-yard line before Taumoi Penu knocked him out of bounds.
Jamison Webb, great job there. Obviously, his first target wasn't there. He kept his eyes downfield when he felt the presence. Here you see him, empty backfield, looks to his left, not able to find a receiver, reverses field, finds the side on the right side, and picks up a good game, creating a third and manageable situation as we look down. 3rd and 7 on this play.
Charles Tu'ua was there to help knock him out of bounds as well. 3rd down and 6, a big one, after the Mountain Crest Mustangs offense was off the field for quite some time. Webb does not like what he's looking at, so he'll call a timeout, and we'll take it with him. 9-7 the score. 3rd and 6 for Mountain Crest when we return in the 4A championship game. Brought to you by Tosh. Early stages of the second quarter. Timpview trailing Mountain Crest 9-7. Batman is in the building.
It's a rowdy crowd right there.
I mean, it's not Darth Vader showing up like a Raider game, but it's a big deal. Webb scrambling again. Gets away from Reed. Can't get around the end of the 30-yard line. He's brought down to the 32. Hastings Matson made sure that he didn't reach first down yardage. Well, don't forget, here tonight, Steve, a lot of people watching this game this evening, and a special hello to Brian Anderson, who is watching the game tonight. His son is Andres Anderson, who plays for Mountain Crest, who, of course, is playing in tonight's game. And, of course, his teammates, Coach Wooten, they're all being supported from Brian Anderson, who is out in Afghanistan right now at the combat outpost Mokur in Ghazni. And they're all cheering for the Mountain Crest Mustangs. He and his entire crew out there. So a big hello to you, Brian, and a big thanks from all of us here at KJZZ TV for your work and your service in protecting our freedoms. Rugby punt, going to bounce inside the 20, inside the 15, and Mountain Crest gets exactly what they want as the Timp Thunderbirds will be backed up. And a big thanks to him for serving our country, and that's great. A dedicated follower, and I know, obviously, with his obligations, he's unable to be here today to watch his son play in this game and to watch the Mountain Crest Mustangs in a big game, but a big thanks to him.
Yeah, that is pretty remarkable. Able to watch his son play football here. Credit KJZZ and his staff for creating an opportunity like that.
He's watching us online, and so we appreciate him taking the time to watch this game tonight. And hopefully he's enjoying it, probably pleased with his boys' team being up by the score of 9-7. Talon Niederhauser with the carry on the right side, and he is down to the 16-yard line. Niederhauser, rather, with the tackle as Aspinall was on the carry.
And Aspinall's doing what the coaches are asking him. Getting the ball, running between the tackles, not trying to do too much. And so far, like we mentioned, until Mountain Crest proves they can stop that running attack from Aspinall, no need to go away from it offensively.
Slot right, one man to the left. They're going to go to Aspinall left side. Aspinall trying to spin out of tackles and is going to be brought down to the 17. Niederhauser on the stop. That's actually a big play for this Mountain Crest defense because they were really struggling to hold him to minimal yards.
Well, when you see a running back like that picks up a lot of yards after contact, that's having the success that he's having, one thing as a defender you want to do, Tony, is you got to somehow make him a little jittered. Every time he goes through that hole, you got to make him think. So how do you do that? You go for the ball. You take the ball, try to create a strip. When running backs try to do too much, sometimes you let that ball hang out a little bit.
3rd down and 5. Lloyd is going to roll. He's going to throw it for Gallen, and Gallen is hit immediately and brought down short of the 20. Caden Lindley was right there for a big tackle to make sure that it will be Mountain Crest getting the ball back.
Caden Lindley, great play there.
He's made a couple of nice defensive plays as well as his work on the offensive end. Yeah.
3rd down play. As you see, Jake Lloyd here taking that ball, dumping it off, and Lindley not letting him pick it up any yards, understanding where the sticks were, and defending that 1st down mark.
A high, booming punt, and it's going to back haul all the way inside the 35. Makes the first man miss. Now running near side, and he's going to run out of room as he's brought down at the 38.
So far we've seen Hall in the backfield. We've seen him throw a touchdown pass.
And I believe, to be honest with you, Brian had sent us a email with Anderson being the guy that he was looking for. Andres Anderson, the sophomore on this football team, and he's got to be proud to have his dad out there doing what he's doing and representing our country in such a great way. And you know, and I know, when we get a chance to be around some of these kids, some of them do have family members who are serving overseas and protecting our freedom, and people who have been away from their families for months and years at a time. It's definitely an emotional part of what they go through, and they try to represent their families very, very proud while being out there on the field. Here's Ferguson on the right side, and Ferguson will pick up about 7 yards. Charles Ta'ua there on the tackle.
Gage Ferguson does a great job spelling Eddie Hall there. Eddie Hall's done a great job all game. Like I said, he is the Swiss Army knife for that offense. Guy's punted the ball. He's thrown a touchdown pass, catches the ball in the backfield, runs the ball. He can do everything back there.
Ferguson again, spinning and working his way for 1st down yardage and into Timp territory. The Advocates at Driggs Bills and Day, the injury law firm, will be on your field helping you dash for Cafe Rio cash. It's a great way to pledge not to text and drive. Gage Ferguson, also an interesting story. I'm sure you read what was in the Deseret News earlier this week, the story about losing his 2 younger brothers in a car accident. Tragic to have something like that happen. Here's Ferguson barreling into the middle and picks up a yard or 2. Gabe Reed was there for the tackle. And of course, that family talked a lot about all the great support that they got from the entire community, and not just from the Hiram community and people that they know from the Mountain Crest program, but also from some of the surrounding programs that are up there in Cache Valley.
That's so amazing, and that's the fun part about doing these football games and watching these high school players. And that's why I love high school football in general, is you have so many stories like this and communities rallying around these high school football teams and great, stories about communities really rallying behind guys in trouble situations.
Huerta was the intended receiver that time as they faked Gage Ferguson. And it was an incomplete pass, so it will now set up a 3rd down and 8.
Jamison Webb's done a good job up to this point. I think he's doing exactly what he needs to. He's not trying to force issues. He's tucking and running with the ball when he needs to, keeping his eyes downfield, understands when he's getting when he's feeling some pressure.
Action in the eye again on 3rd down and 8. A fake to Ferguson. Webb rolling, whistles blow, and it'll be a false start against the Mustangs.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So a 3rd and 13 now for Mountain Crest, as they have 5:16 now left here in the 2nd quarter.
And those penalties hurt you, setting up a third and long situation. Makes it very difficult for an offensive coordinator to sit back and call a play on 3rd and 13. As you see those safeties sitting back there, gives them opportunities to be a little bit more risky back there and create an opportune time for an interception.
Everybody out on 3rd down. Webb rolling, Webb throwing, going very deep for Pututau. And Pututau is unable to come down with it. Chasing the play down was Isaiah Holloway. But anytime I'm going to say they're going deep for Pututau, if you're from Timpview, you definitely hold your breath.
Yeah, Pututau's kind of overlooked with Eddie Hall back there, Jameson
He's a
Webb.
big-time playmaker.
Pututau, he does it all. He does a great job out there, defensive back. Has a lot of experience, and keep in mind, this is a guy who started for this Mountain Crest football team for the last couple years. And as you see, some of that experience is paying off, can do it on both sides of the football.
He's been given a lot of comparisons to Nate Fakahafua, who we saw a couple of years ago. Offensively, at least, when it comes to going up and getting the football, he has showed that ability. Covey will chase down the punt, but he's not going to touch it as it goes out of bounds at the 17-yard line. And that is where the Timpview Thunderbirds will take over. Let's talk about Timpview last week. Huge showdown against the East Leopards last week in the snow. The Leopards struck first with that Ula Tulatau touchdown, but after that, it was all Timpview. They took a 13-7 lead. They were down 14-13 at the half, but scored 19 unanswered in the second half for a 32-14 victory. It was capped off by this Britton Covey touchdown catch. Nice run for the 18-point win in an impressive second half on both sides of the ball. Just under 5 to play here in the second quarter. Timpview is going to go to Aspinall left side, and a flag is down as Aspinall will pick up 2 or 3 yards.
And it looks like they're going to get a hold. Teisina, left tackle for that Timpview offense. Looks like he's got his hands just outside the shoulder pads there.
Holding on the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
There is Scott Maxfield making the call right there. Part of our officiating crew. Boy, he really mauled him there on the outside. Decina, one of those guys who has been extremely impressive when you watch him on film as well. Many of the guys on that offensive line have been. By the way, Scott Maxwell there on the call. Don't forget, Tyler Charlesworth is the umpire today. Jay Waite, the linesman. The line judge is Mike Reamer, and the back judge is Jared Youngman. Solid crew here tonight for the game at Rice Eccles Stadium. 1st and 21. Lloyd rolling, pressure coming, throws deep for Covey, and he makes the catch at the 40. Linton Covey with a terrific grab, and he was covered by Caden Lindley, and a nice throw from Lloyd.
What a reception there for Covey. Great throw by Jake Lloyd. And here you see Jake Lloyd taking that ball, rolling to his right, gives that little pump fake. They've set this play up all game long. They've set it up well. Usually Covey will take that and cut it off based on the defender. That time he does an out and up and comes up with a great reception there. Jake Lloyd, as we've seen all season long, does a great job throwing on the run outside the tackle box.
And Britton Covey with just great ability to focus in and make the tough catch. We saw it last week. We showed the highlight just a moment ago in the fourth quarter grab that was really the exclamation point in that win against the East Leopards. A big catch there here with just over 4 minutes left to play in the second quarter. Lloyd to throw again, and he's going to go far side for Van Leeuwen, who's unable to make the catch. Lindley was on the coverage again. Take a look at that catch one more time by Covey down the field.
There you see Jake Lloyd releasing the football. Covey.
Lindley was grabbing him down the field, too. I mean, this is a tough grab with contact all the way up the side.
And that's one, if you're a defender, as Caden Lindley was on that play, you just sit back and say congratulations, because that was a great throw, great catch. Covey does a great job. We saw him last week have a big touchdown reception, as you mentioned, Tony, and now doing a great job early on in this football game.
Gallen on the carry, or rather Aspinall coming to right side. He'll get up across the 40 and down to the 42. Pututal there on the tackle. By the way, want more high school sports? Go to DesNews.com to catch up on all things high school sports. News, highlights, and live games. The Deseret News, our official streaming partner for all Utah High School Activities Association championship events. KJZZ TV, DesNews.com, and KSL.com, the home for champions. And by the way, their coverage of Championship Week was outstanding. Great stories all week long. Amy Donaldson with touching stories with Gage Ferguson in the story here. Also more on players in the 5A championship game. Also, we talked about that last game. Lloyd is in trouble. He's going to move the ball to his left hand and throw incomplete. A flag is down as Stetson Weston was there to put on the pressure.
Stetson Weston, great job. Weston comes right up the middle, grabs Lloyd by the shoulder pads and forces him down. Lloyd's
holding on the offense. That penalty will be declined. 4th down.
What an effort by Jake Lloyd here. Sees the blitz coming, switches hands. What an athletic and smart play by Jake Lloyd to get that ball off and not take the sack. Athletic.
So Lozano back to punt, and before he's able to boot this one away, penalty markers, and it looks like this one will also go against Timp.
Jake Lloyd throws better with his left hand than most with his right.
4th down.
4th down anyway. Rather, the punter back there is Brett Matthews, who has come into the game to boot this one away. And it'll be 4th down and 12.
As you see Pututal and Eddie Hall deep to return.
Matthews last into this one. Poison is the call on the field as Pututal will back up and then stay away from it. And this ball will roll inside the 15 down to the 12-yard line. We've watched a couple of nice punts here so far in this game. Let's take a look at the last two Mountain Crest championships. How about 2001 and 2005? Back in 01. What a solid team this was. The win over Box Elder, that was up at Weber State University. Zimmerman and company with that victory. Look, there was still neck rolls in football back in 2001.
Neck rolls. They need to bring that style back.
32-24. Mountain Crest was the winner in that one. And then how about 2005 against the Highland Rams in what was not the best played game necessarily, but it was a very, very close one. Mountain Crest wins that one 16-13. A lot of turnovers, a little bit of sloppy play. Well, the Mountain Crest Mustangs came out on top of that one. They made the bigger plays down the stretch in a great 16-13 finish. Hastings Madsen there on the tackle after Eddie Hall makes the catch and gets up across the 10-yard line.
Zimmerman's a running back.
15.
That 2001 team I remember well, obviously playing down here at Skyline. Kind of always kept my eye on Zimmerman and what he was doing from the stats standpoint, and great running back. And, you know, both teams have a winning tradition in these programs, and guys buy into their system, and that's why you see these teams routinely in the state championship. Indeed,
they have been. In the last 9 state championship games in 4A, one of them has been in the previous 8. It's been that impressive to what these two teams have been able to do in the 4A ranks. They've dominated them, no doubt, and it's no surprise to see these two teams here today. They've met up a number of times in the semifinals. You remember the Caressa games to go with it. The history goes on between these two teams. This portion of the game presented by Huntington Learning Center. If you're looking to raise your ACT score, call 800-CAN-LEARN. The average student at Huntington Learning Center raises their score by 5 to 6.